Good day, viewers. Equitable is reporting live at Ikeja, Lagos for Tetfund's one-day strategic engagement with several heads of tertiary institutions across the country. This engagement is important to create a forum for the discussion of several issues confronting tertiary institutions across the nation in order to chart a course forward. In view of this, the Honourable Minister of Education, Honourable Dr. Tunji Alausa, is set to grace the occasion to brainstorm with the arrowheads of institutions across the nation. So stay tuned as Equitable brings to you all the live coverage of the event as it unfolds. I am Daniel Samson Idowu, reporting for Eco Hotblog. The Tetfund's one-day strategic engagement with heads of institutions, bursars, and procurement officers of beneficiary institutions across the country took place on Friday, May the 16th, 2025. The event was held at the beautiful Messalinas Place Event Hall in Ikeja, Lagos, bringing together key leaders in the public educational sector to discuss strategic plans for development and progress. The event started proper following the arrival of the Honourable Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, who was received warmly at the venue. Tetfund's Executive Secretary, Architect Sunday Echono, formally opened the floor with warm remarks, commending the public institution leaders, bursars, and procurement officers in attendance, urging them to adapt more innovative methods in managing and utilizing the funds allocated to their institutions for maximum benefit.
So the Vice Chancellors, Rectors, Provosts, Bursars of our various beneficiary institutions and heads of procurement, on behalf of the Honourable Minister, the Board of Trustees of Tetfund, the management and staff, I want to warmly welcome you formally this morning. Here with me today are the heads of our beneficiary institutions from predominantly the three southern zones, South East, South South, and Southwest, comprising universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. We also requested the heads of these institutions to come with a delegation of 2 members to accompany them, the bursar and the head of procurement. The specific reasons for this is for us to be able to get guidance. For the bursars, we have a detailed report on the performance of each institution in terms of accessing their funds and what is not being accessed, those with cases involving proper accounting and recording and reporting, issues around audits, and we also want them to be able to ask questions about our internal control mechanisms and processes and compliance requirements with new and emergent regulations that have been put in place by government. But the specific programs that have been introduced to improve the efficiency of funds utilization for this year. We're also taking extraordinary steps to ensure that this is done. So if you look at our advert, we're actually going to get to ensure quality assurance. We are sending reputable, internationally respected experts. The ADS can come forward to verify that performance is taking place and the right quality is maintained and achieved before releases are made. So, just like we introduced the idea of using ASU and the other unions to participate in certifying projects, we are able to be getting consultants this year to help us do that quality assurance. It's part of the innovations we brought. And I told you we have set up monitoring committees for specific interventions, like our interventions in the health and medical sector that are already going around to try and do the needs assessment, validate it before we commence implementation. So I will pause welcome you warmly, encourage you to be very open, talk to us about your feelings, your perceptions, seek clarification about every aspect of our operations you are not sure or happy with. We'll be glad to provide the answers. We should also collectively be able to find ways and means of improving or enhancing the benefits of our interventions, not only for 2025, but in subsequent ways by finding creative ways of achieving these efficiencies. So I thank you and I wish us a very fruitful engagement today. God bless.
Speaking on behalf of the Executive Secretary of the National University Commission, Dr. Ayoteju Ogun reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to fostering growth and development as she stressed the importance of proper funding and the careful use of grants and allocations to ensure effective progress.
The impact of Tetfund over the years is clearly evident, transforming physical infrastructure, enhancing research productivity, and strengthening human capacity across our institutions. As we deliberate on the 2025 intervention guidelines, I urge all participating institutions to reflect on how best to leverage Tetfund support to drive sustainable transformation in the following key areas. So such areas including research capabilities and building robust innovation ecosystem, expanding ICT infrastructure and fostering digital literacy, developing entrepreneurship hubs to promote job creation and self-reliance, strengthening industry academia linkages to ensure relevance and impact.
In addition, Professor Diyaudeen Bashir Hassan, representing the National Board for Technical Education, also shared his appreciation for Tetfund's dedication. He highlighted the vital role of Tetfund in improving infrastructural facilities and called for fair and wise use of resources by all beneficiary institutions.
I wish to commend Tetfund for its consistent and impactful interventions in infrastructural development, equipment, procurement, academic training, and research support across Nigerian polytechnics and technical institutions. These investments have not only elevated learning conditions, but also strengthened the institutional capacity of our beneficiary institutions to align with global best practices. I encourage you to use this forum to share practical insights, successful procurement models, lessons learned, and innovations that can help us create a more innovations that can help us to be more responsive and efficient system. Let this engagement not be a one-off event, but a launchpad for sustained institutional reform.
The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, Professor Paulinius Chijoke Okwele, followed with his remarks emphasizing the importance of strategic planning in higher education, particularly in terms of transparency and accountability in the use of public funds for infrastructural growth and development of public institutions.
We must leverage this platform to foster transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the utilization of Tetfund resources. I urge all heads of institutions here with your Bursars and procurement officers to work together and embrace best practices, uphold integrity, and foster a culture of excellence in managing funds and resources. Supporting and collaborating with Tetfund and all other stakeholders to advance the cause of quality tertiary education in Nigeria.
The Honourable Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, then delivered a thoughtful speech reminding institutions' leaders of the guiding principles for the 2025 Tetfund's allocations. He emphasized that most funds should be used for renovating and upgrading key infrastructure such as laboratories, classrooms, and hostels. He also warned against unnecessary building projects like satellite campuses, citing concerns over resource waste and inefficiency.
Tetfund is delivered for unlike tertiary institutions, but this government would extract the maximum benefit for every naira Tetfund spends in any of our institutions. That's the agenda we're pursuing now. I'm also pleased to note that 2025 Tetfund significantly increased allocation to the National Research Fund, the Research and Innovation Fund, and the Triple Helix program. These interventions are central to advancing innovation, commercialization of research, and solving real-life problems in agriculture, healthcare, technology, and critical sectors. The deployment of Tertiary Education Research Application and Services Platform is another milestone in a drive for transparency and efficiency. I urge all institutions to fully adopt these digital tools as it forms the bedrock of data-driven and accountable educational system. For the 2025 academic intervention cycle, our focus is on consolidation and sustainability. This year, priority is given to completing abandoned projects, rehabilitating existing infrastructure, and establishing innovation hubs and entrepreneurial centers. All physical infrastructure funding must be directed towards revitalizing existing initiatives, and I expect institutions to utilize these resources with transparency and integrity. Unrestrained institutional expansion, duplication of mandates, and non-compliance with procurement and funding guidelines will no longer be tolerated. Institutions that fail to meet enrollment thresholds, misuse of funds, or violate due process may be suspended from future Tetfund interventions. This is not punitive, rather it's a necessary step to preserve the integrity of our system and ensure equitable distributions of limited resources. Don't do projects because you want to do it. The several institutions went and cited big buildings in areas where there are no roads on your campus, no water, no light. Those buildings stand abandoned today. That's reckless use of public resources. That's no longer it won't be tolerated. Institution will be punished, and the way we will punish you, we will stop the Tetfund grant intervention fund. Clear, simple. And we will direct those funds to the universities, to the institutions that are doing the right thing. And you're all aware that this 2025 direct intervention to you will be spent on 6 things: rehabilitation of student hostels, rehabilitation of student classes and auditoriums, their laboratories, engineering workshops, faculty offices. That's what you're expected to spend this 2025 direct intervention fund to you. No new capital projects. Tetfund will also be working with you to rehabilitate the institutions that have uncompleted projects. Will also complete those projects first. And let me also direct this to the university vice chancellors. I've seen so many Senate building, use of Tetfund money to construct new Senate building. Please, let's go away from that. Most universities already have Senate building. Let's direct these funds more to improving the learning environment where our students learn, where our lecturers work, and where our non-academic staff work. We need to be focused the way you use our money. Today, Tetfund funding will stay till eternity. From January, the ministry approved the suspension of foreign component of Tetfund scholarship for academic staff. It was a difficult decision, but necessary due to rising costs and increased incidences of people not coming back. The last data that we got, almost 80% of people that were sponsored to go on this foreign scholarship did not return back to their various institutions. It was as if our government was just wasting money to fund academic development for other countries to feast on them. And that was why we took that decision to stop the foreign scholarship.
A lively question and answer session followed as Dr. Alausa and the Tetfund's Executive Secretary addressed concerns raised by participants. Questions covered topics such as lecturers' welfare, staff remuneration, government-sponsored academic workshops, and overseas training opportunities for tutors.
On the issue of consultancies, the first time the Honourable Minister discussed this with us at a meeting in Abuja, we went back to our institutions to talk about it, and we realized that we still have some problems implementing this. For example, if we want to take our architect as a consultant, they then tell us that they need this registration, that document, and all of those things before they can be allowed official. So we need some clarifications whether we are asking too much or maybe we don't even know what to do. Thank you very much.
What strategies can such universities that have these satellite campuses adopt to reduce or close the campuses considering political and other influences?
This thing about consultancy units, please, we need to take it seriously. And it is nothing new. It's just that over time, they were abandoned. I am aware of some of the other reasons why they were abandoned. Because as practitioners, we know, even as a student, I used to have, I actually spend one of my vacation working in the consultancy unit in Navy. I didn't go home for that long vacation because I was given the job. We were working on the design. Yeah. And we did even the extension for the Cash Drive library. I completed the extension. I even got a little award for that as a prize. So as a student, I was able to benefit significantly from it. Not to talk about the unit itself. So it is a source of revenue for you. The welfare of our staff, both academic and non-academic, is extremely important to this president. We can't pay our way to just increasing wages. We have to find a way to give additional income, additional support. And that's why Mr. President has approved what we call a special staff support fund that will be able to couple some billions of money. We'll get a bigger chunk next year. And once that fund will be launched, that you will hear more about that program in the next succeeding weeks. What that funds will be targeted to will be, we've spoken to, we finished almost the design. We looked at running those funds through your cooperative. We thought it might be a bit difficult. So we're talking to Tobacco of Industry. They will be the one managing those funds in collaboration with your various institutions. We'll target 5 things. Support our academic and non-academic staff. They are medical. We need funds to pay for medical services. We need funds for education of your children. We need funds for accommodation. We want to pay for mortgage, buy a new house or things like that. And also, if you want to buy a car or repair your car. So we will target those 5 areas in the first instance. And into the future, we might expand on that. To the student as well, we need to unleash their capacity. We've set up a student venture capital fund. It's not for them to start research. But the students that have done well, we now want to help them to move their research, their design to market. So we'll give them venture capital support to move those creation, those innovation to market. That will be launched as well. We put about 3 billion naira to support that. And as we do this, we need to really push up to them, identify them as we begin to put the processes for RFP. We want the universities, the lecturers, the vice chancellors to be involved as well. Identify those students that have those resources and then the experience, the talent. Get them to us, give them those funds to get them started. And once they have that, they can now begin to now look at more angel investment coming in, other more capital, venture capital fund coming in. You help them unleash the innate creativity, innate talent that they have. And in doing so, they will also be entrepreneurs, employer of labor. That's what we can get out of this high unemployment quagmire. We need to identify this talent quickly, support them, we also support them financially, showing them that we're watching out for them. We want them to continue to do what they do. And as we do this, we'll encourage many more of them to follow that path.
At the close of the event, Dr. Tunji Alausa and the convener, Architect Sunday Echono, shared their final thoughts, emphasizing the importance of strategic planning, transparency, and effective use of resources to achieve the goal of Nigeria's tertiary educational sector.
One of those polytechnics today has 18,000 students. 7 of them, of those polytechnics, only have between 350 to 550 students. And then after 5 or 6 years, they will go. And those polytechnics that have 500 students get the same amount of money with the one that has 18,000 students. So what do you think they will do? Get this money? The work is not being used properly. And that's what we're trying to stop the inefficient rule, federal government. And that's why we've set the target. If we're the institution, after 5 years of being open, we have less than 2,000 students, would consider not giving you Tetfund intervention until you learn from the capacity. Yeah, we have the keen emphasis in building the capacity and part develop. What we were getting from those solid scholarships government of Nigeria was being totally shortchanged. We spent a lot of money. We're spending a lot of money on this solid scholarship. And when we did full evidence-based analysis, 85% of those people that we sent abroad to get this education did not return back to the college. And a lot of these funds were spent on courses that we have enough capacity. We don't do respect to everybody. We can't be spending huge amounts of money on some course like that we have better capacity locally. And that's why we make decisive efforts to move those funding back into our universities, create capacity, build excellence in our academic institutions. And at the first time, we worked with Tetfund is worked with several of our tertiary institutions, public and private alike. They created 28 centers with center of excellence, where these students, these postgraduate students will go and get their master's degrees and PhD and a PhD degree. And what we're doing with that, we're moving more so into the local institution to help them invest more in their building their instructional capacity, building more resource base for them to continue to educate Nigerians. And as they do that, they'll create more jobs for both academic and non-academic staff in this area. So we're trying to also empower and use this to improve the welfare of our academic and non-academic staff. But at the end of the day, you look at capacities in our institution. If you go back 40 years ago, Nigeria was center of excellence where people came from Western, Southern Africa, Nigeria, Africa, and the world at large to see educators. That's no longer what it is now. That's what we're trying to recreate, and we're marching to this agenda.
This is the first step in that process to sensitize them, let them know the expectations of Mr. President on the need for prudent and judicious utilization of resources. On our part, to state measure, we strengthen our monitoring mechanism. We are also getting some consultants to assist us, policy adherence, by involving staff leaders, the stakeholders, the students themselves, to ensure that whatever we keep in the school are used by the fulfillment of finance. Beyond that, we also believe that it's an opportunity for us to key to Mr. President's motivating. President is determined to ensure that the youth education the bedrock of all our national aspirations, to change the current narratives. And it is how we demonstrated them at the first, even when we almost lost funding to the time, the president came out to say no, successful funding must be pursued, and even encouraged that the development levy that they had taken to 2 dead noise is over to Pakistan. There can be no further demonstration like that. So it's our responsibility to ensure that we meet his expectations and how we implement it. And all hands are on deck,
Indeed, the event was a timely reminder and a wake-up call to all administrative heads of public tertiary institutions across the country, emphasizing the need for strategic planning, responsible resource management, and transparency to advance Nigeria's higher education sector and ensure sustainable growth. For Echo Heart Blog, this is Daniel Samson Idowu. Indeed, it has been a critical moment of discussion and conversation around how to push the academic sector forward as the Honourable Minister of Education brainstormed with several arrowheads of tertiary institutions across Nigeria, particularly in terms of resource optimization and upskilling students with requisite skill to fit into the job demand in the society. Thank you for staying tuned. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms on X, Instagram, and Facebook at Echo Hot Blog. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Echo Hot Blog. I am Daniel Samson Idowu, reporting for Echo Hot Blog.